Wow, so this latest news is pretty historic if you think about it. If you're a gamer, then you'll probably know that E3 has always been something of an institution for the gaming industry. The first show was held at the Los Angeles Convention Center from May 11th to May 13th in 1995, which is almost 24 years ago. One company that has always been there since the very beginning is none other than Sony, meaning they have held a press conference each year since the trade show began, through which they have introduced brand new consoles, unveiled brand new games, announced new services, you name it. Which is why it definitely came as a surprise to most to find out that Sony will not be attending or presenting at E3 2019 this year. This makes Nintendo the only video game company that has attended every single E3. That is assuming that they don't themselves are planning to announce that they're also pulling out or anything. Then there is Microsoft, who has been attending and presenting at the event since E3 2000, and based on this recent cheeky tweet, they seem all too happy that Sony has pulled away, as this certainly will give Xbox a bigger piece of the spotlight for themselves. As for why Sony is pulling out this year, here's the official statement that the company provided to members of the press. As the industry evolves, Sony Interactive Entertainment continues to look for inventive opportunities to engage the community. PlayStation fans mean the world to us, and we always want to innovate, think differently, and experiment with new ways to delight gamers. As a result, we have decided not to participate in E3 in 2019. We are exploring new and familiar ways to engage our community in 2019 and can't wait to share our plans with you. Now, this right here will surely come as a disappointment to many Sony fans, and it's definitely bound to make E3 feel much less wholesome. That trinity between Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony has been this 18 years long boxing match tradition that's now all of a sudden disrupted, so the event is definitely going to feel somewhat different. This is even more disheartening to hear to some, given that Sony also canceled their annual PlayStation Experience event for 2018. Speaking during a PlayStation blogcast back in late September, Shawn had this to say: "Now that we have Spider-Man out the door, we're looking down in 2019 to games like Dreams and Days Gone, but we couldn't have enough to bring people all together in some location in North America to have that event. We don't want to set expectations really high and then not deliver on it. It was a hard decision, but we have determined that this year we will not hold PlayStation Experience." If they didn't have enough to show, then it was definitely a good idea to not host the event at all rather than just waste people's time. So we got PSX cancelled because there's not enough content, and now with E3 cancelled, some people are wondering if this is indication that the PS4 is running out of steam, that Sony has nothing to show, that 2019 may be sort of a gap year in terms of exclusive games and content. I would say that's not the case at all. It's important to note that Sony does hint in their statement about E3 that they're exploring new and familiar ways to engage with the community, meaning that something might be cooking behind the scenes for 2019. There might be a change in format and venue, but that doesn't mean Sony's full out skipping 2019 altogether. The best bet is that they might host their own event separate from E3, so all the spotlight can be on them when they make some major announcements. For upcoming games, we've still got the likes of Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, Death Stranding, and what have you to look forward to, though what their release window looks like still remains a mystery. It's still hard to say if all that stuff is intended to be released in 2019 or if it's been pushed back to 2020, but on top of all that, there may very well be a chance that Sony is starting to think about how they might announce their next generation console. The general consensus right now among video game analysts, journalists, and pundits seems to be that Sony will be primed to launch PlayStation 5 sometime in 2020. With the PlayStation 4 having launched in late 2013, that will make it about a 7-year-long cycle, which is about the length of time you'd expect out of a console generation, so 2020 definitely seems like prime time for PS5 to launch. Which makes one wonder if Sony is doing things differently in 2019 in order to build up to the console's announcement. I'll have you recall that in early 2013, Sony hosted a custom event called PlayStation Meeting in order to announce PlayStation 4 before the console launched later that year. Now, the one discrepancy would be that PlayStation 4's announcement and its release happened within the same year, a few months apart. Whereas if PS5 were to be announced in 2019 and then release in late 2020, that would be a much bigger gap. And given how successful PS4's strategy was with the way it capitalized on hype and timed everything out, I'm not sure they'd want to shift too far away from that. But who knows what Sony's plans are, honestly. Perhaps the PS5 is releasing earlier than we anticipated, perhaps they're simply planning a small teaser for the next console, or maybe they won't even announce PS5 this year and they'll focus instead on PS4's remaining major games during whatever custom event they have in store for us. Now, there is one rumor floating around on Reddit conveyed by a user who posted the following thread titled, "Sony is not going to appear in E3 next year, official announcement tomorrow." He posted this a day before the announcement was actually made. On top of all that, the user provided the following additional insight. PS experience returning in 2019. Most devs already have dev kits for PS5. Spoiler, it's a monster. Sony prepping hard for PS5, and one of the reasons for no E3 next year because they blew all their load this year and got nothing new to show next year. They want to show new stuff at PSX. Then, when asked whether we can expect PS5 news in some reveal event or if we'll have to wait until PSX 2019, the leaker had this to say. Small reveal mid-2019, big one at PSX. Plans might change though. So basically, we might see like a PlayStation meeting 2019 where they'll tease PS5 before they blow the lid wide open at PSX 2019. This is all still rumors and speculation obviously, and all we can do for now is speculate. But me personally, I get the sense that Sony might be doing something big in 2019 if they intend to diverge from established formula. I'm personally getting vibes that this might be like a calm before the storm. I don't want to get my hopes too high up though, so I'll wait until more details are revealed before making any more assumptions. All I know is that PS4 does still have plenty of life left in it with exclusive titles like Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, Death Stranding, and so on the horizon. So I'm not worried that 2019 will be this dull year for PlayStation, and if they deem 2019 to be the right year to finally announce their next major console, they might not need E3 to steal the spotlight. While we wait for more information, I'd love to hear what your speculation is on Sony skipping out on both PSX and E319 in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy my content and would like to support this channel directly, consider donating on Patreon. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.